Designer babies is a topic that was researched by Group 9 and includes the following contributing members: Margaret Rakowitz, John Roundy, Dantavius Demby, and Raina Wynn. Designer babies can be defined as the scientific engineering to modify characteristics of a human child before birth using the CRISPR-Cas genome modification technology. The appeal to this is based off deleting undesirable attributes from the fetus and replacing the genomes with appealing aspects that the parents would prefer their offspring to have. This topic has been widely controversial around the globe, including the United States and many other developed countries, including China. Many scientists are afraid of what could happen to the human race if these modifications can't be controlled. And once the modifications are controlled, how will we be able to control the results? Genetic alterations are appealing because of the potential for a parent to essentially make the perfect offspring. Promoting genetic alterations and the overall process is highly contested among the scientific world at this time because of the prolonged potential effects. Scientists' concerns on genetic alterations have some merit in the area of wealth. The concerns mount when identifying financial availability to those only in the upper class and those of extreme wealth. Lastly, the purpose of our survey was to show that the wealthy are more likely to attempt gene modifications due to the high costs of the experiments. The literature review for designer babies is constructed based off the belief that mostly wealthy people would have access to create a designer baby due to the sheer cost of what is believed will be a great sum for such a procedure. It is feared that those of lower income will not have the means to create a designer baby, and that would give a huge advantage to the upper class who can afford to genetically make their children superior. And this potentially would lead to catastrophic consequences. The science world is also concerned with what mistakes may be created if there are not strict regulations on the procedures, and there needs to be guidelines for procedures to prevent the spread of contaminating the gene pool with genetic modifications that prove harmful to the populace. Our hypothesis states those who make more than $200,000 annually tend to support the creation of customizable humans more often than those who make less than $199,999 annually. This hypothesis was a problem due to the pool of students making over $200,000 was so small compared to what was represented in the class. Our independent variable was the difference in students making $200,000 or more and the students making less than $200,000 annually. The dependent variable was based off the various attitudes toward the creation of designer babies. Data collection was based on incomes of $200,000 or more annually versus those below and the relation of annual income to a student's perception of designer babies. The questions were closed questions and were answered by level of belief based on a 5-point Likert scale. The questions asked were in relation to annual income and if they believed that higher income individuals would support the making of a designer baby. The sample was a non-probability, convenient sample taken from our BAAS class, Foundations of Inquiry and Discovery at UNT during the fall 2019 semester. This bivariate table discloses what information we received from our sample in regard to the questions that were asked and the tabulation of answers by income range. The hypothesis was supported in this case because the variance was within allowable parameters. We did encounter a problem with the sample because it was not fully representative of the class as a whole, and only a small percentage of the class represented our direct audience from our sample group. The results tabulated reflect our belief that the hypothesis is supported and reflects the group of income earners we believed will be using the creation of designer babies. Ideas of future research can be discussed from many different aspects of influence, from military needs to specific parental wants, and that of someone just wanting to have a healthy child. It would be interesting to learn the attitudes of parents who currently have a disability and would like their potential child to have none, parents who already have a child with special needs and would like to eliminate the possibility of their next child also having special needs, or the views of pediatricians, obstetricians, or other doctors in related fields. In conclusion, designer babies are not just an idea. They are in our immediate future, and the wealthy will have the capability to engineer their offspring for advancement. Based on our limited sample, we were able to prove our hypothesis that the wealthy individual is more likely to opt into the creation of a designer baby. It would be interesting to uncover if those who have genetic disabilities would desire to eliminate the possibility of their potential children suffering the same genetic disability. Also, it would be interesting to discover the thoughts of pediatricians on the topic as well. Thank you for listening to our presentation about designer babies.